So I'd like to, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Alvar Centers. I'm a strategic business development director for Q Vinci. And I'm also going to be joined by one of my colleagues, Caitlin Underwood. She's going to be manning the queue for your questions. I want to thank you all for taking the time to join us today for the webinar. Let me move this out of the way here. So just so you know, a couple housekeeping things. We're going to be having additional webinars, and here are the dates and the topics for the forthcoming webinars. So if you'd like to participate in those, feel free to reach out to me or any of my colleagues that will be listed in the final slide. We'd be more than happy to get you set up and provide you with additional information on those as well. What we want to do is also, we want to make this as interactive as possible at the very end. So I want to save some time for your questions. But in the meantime, as we go through this, if you have questions, feel free to submit them, and Caitlin will man those in the queue, and we'll address those at the very end. What you're looking at here is a condensed customer slide for Q Vinci. You know, obviously, we have many more customers than this, but this is a pretty good cross-section of some of the customers that trust Q Vinci to help them manage their businesses. These are franchise systems that represent, you know, all spectrums and size scale, from those that have under 100 units all the way up to those that have over, you know, many multiples of thousands of units. So Dwyer Group is one of the larger ones, so I'm pretty sure everyone knows who they are. Our agenda is going to look something like this. We're going to talk a little bit about Q Vinci, give you some background information on who we are and, you know, where we've come from. We'll discuss and get a baseline understanding of what is financial reporting software. We'll also touch a little bit on how your life may look today. Why is lack of insight a problem in the reporting software? How important is that, or why is that important? And then we'll also take a look at how your life will be different after you decide to go with Q Vinci, and some of the typical results you can expect to receive from using the software. We'll touch on some of the 5 key highlights or 5 key features of the system. And then also, because this is a cloud-based solution, you're probably going to have security questions, and we'll talk more about security at that time. And then obviously at the end we'll do a Q&A for what's next. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Q Vinci, we started our company about 2007, 2008, and we started under the name QuickDash. And around that time, Intuit came to us and they said, "Hey guys, we'd like to have, you know, a couple conversations with you." One is obviously the name Quick. Intuit, they have the rights to the name Quick as it relates to anything financial software related. So we had to change our name from QuickDash to Q Vinci. And so after we did that, the other thing we had a conversation with them about was they had plans at that time to redevelop their software, or to develop their software as a cloud-based solution, right? They knew that in order for them to scale and to continue to grow to support their customer base, they had to eventually move off of their current platform, which was the model that our software was built in for, you would install it locally in a local server, to the cloud. And so they asked us to redesign our solution so that it would be a cloud-based solution. And they asked us to do that because they understood that our software actually fills some of the capability gaps that they currently have in their product suite, especially as they move to the online model. And so we did that, and after we redeveloped our solution to be a cloud-based solution, we became Intuit's franchise reporting program partner for back, I guess, since 2011. So since that time, we have been their #1 reporting app in the Intuit App Store. And then also, we do have our technology is patented. We have a couple of patents that are currently pending, and we also have some that have been approved. And I'll touch a little bit more on the patents as we go through this. Now you may ask, what is financial reporting software? And so the crux of it is the gap filler, right? It plugs the gaps between your accounting packages, whatever accounting package you have. It plugs the gaps and features that you may be experiencing frustrations with, right? We obviously save you a lot of time because we're going to automate a lot of these processes that are currently manual and mundane. We're also going to help you save money by reducing risk, right? And by reducing risk, improving operations, and automating a lot of these tasks, it's going to improve your overall workflow and efficiencies. Now, Qvinci, we do sync with the following accounting packages. So if you notice the icons at the very bottom, we have Xero, MYOB, and Intuit, all of Intuit's product suite, Enterprise, Pro, Desktop, as well as QB Online. So we have an automatic sync for all of those. Now, if you're using an accounting package that's outside of those three, if you can get the data into an Excel document, that Excel can be uploaded into Qvinci and ingested that way. So you do have options. So for instance, if you're a franchisee, a franchisor, and you have not mandated that your franchisees all use the same accounting platform, we can still help you sync and consolidate data across a plurality of accounting mediums, right? So you may have 55 units that are using Xero, 100 guys that are using Intuit, any version of Intuit, and you may have 25 people that are on MYOB and say a couple that are using something else like Great Plains. We can sync and consolidate across all of those, and for those that are using the others, in that example, Great Plains, if they can get it into an Excel document, you can still consume their data that way. Now, your life today may look a little like this. You may have a lack of insight into your enterprise's financials, especially your franchisees, right? They may be slow or non-responsive in terms of giving you access to their financial data, right? Data is king in making decisions. Once they actually do give you guys the data, they submit their financials to you, consolidating all of those various reports from various mediums can be time consuming, right? That's what you're doing right now. You're collecting the data, and then once you get it all collected, then you have to normalize it. Make sure that the data is accurate, identify where there may be some potential mistakes, and then also run some analytics to detect if there may be some potential fraud underway, right? No one does anything malicious, right? But it's been a little facetious. Now, why is the lack of insight a problem for a franchisor, right? Obviously, your POS is giving you some data, right? But the data that it's giving you is only indicative of half the story. It's giving you top-line revenue, but it's not giving you the full picture of revenues and expenses. Now, you may have franchisees that, that have strong sales, right? But those franchisees can still go out of business, right? And you not know it. And I'll give you an example. We have a customer of ours who, prior to coming to Qvinci, they have about 4,500 or 4,500 plus units out there. Two of their top 5 performing units suddenly went out of business, and they did not see it coming. Yeah, they knew that those 2 units were making money, but they had no idea as to how financially unhealthy those 2 units were. Now, had they had Qvinci, they would have been able to see both the revenues and the expense side of the house for every franchise unit in their ecosystem. All right? Now, that's important, being able to have visibility. Collecting franchise financials is a difficult and time-consuming process. Some of them don't want to do it. They feel like it's Big Brother, even though it may be mandated. They provide that data, kicking and streaming, and they provide it to you in a number of ways. Maybe an Excel document, maybe a fax, maybe something that's mailed in or something that's back a napkin. Who knows, right? But getting it to you is time-consuming. For them to draft the data and then also to put it together in a report to send over to you. And so those are some of the reasons why difficulty in getting you the data It's maybe part of the reason why they don't want to, or they don't comply with submitting the data to the corporations. Now, why is reporting software important? Because we're going to make sure that we automate all this for you, right? You want accurate and up-to-date data, right? Business happens in real time, and you have to make business decisions based on real-time data, not data that's a month old or a quarter old or a year old, right? You need to be able to make real-time business decisions based on real-time data, supported by real-time data, right? You want to identify areas of your business that may have a problem, right? So you can identify those and do something about it. Collaboration is important, right? When you have a financial reporting software, it fosters increased collaboration between corporate and the franchisees, as well as everyone in between. Your business development managers who go out and meet with your franchisees, they now will be able to have the data that they need to have a meaningful conversation about how to improve unit economics for the franchisees that they have responsibility for, right? You'll be able to detect errors at the corporate level, all the way down to the franchisee level, the single unit error layer as well. And of course, avoid unpleasant surprises. Now, your life after Q Vinci will look a little differently, right? Decisions that you have will be based on relevant live data, as well as you'll have the increased collaboration that we just discussed. Q Vinci is about automation, and so this automation saves you a considerable amount of time. If you add up the number of man hours it takes for your accounting department or whomever it is that does your royalty calculations and all that, when you add up the number of man hours they spend just in gathering the data, the financial reports, normalizing it, and translating that data into meaningful data, that adds up. I'm pretty sure you've done the math. You know what that represents to your business. What if you were able to eliminate that down to zero? You could do that with this system. The system is also going to allow you to do benchmarking, which is going to encourage healthy competition amongst your franchisees, right? No one wants to be last, right? And so if you can show them, hey, listen, this is where you're benchmarking currently. These are the steps you need to take to increase your performance so that you're not at the bottom, you're more at the top. You'd be surprised at how contagious healthy competition is for a franchisee or for franchisees to making more money and participating in the overall vision and goal of the franchise system. You also be able to increase compliance. When they're competing and wanting to make money and they're making the steps, they're going to do what they need to do to be more compliant. So they know what's in your FDD. They'll be more compliant, and everyone will be happy all the way up and down the chain. You'll reduce risk as well as be able to detect some fraud there. Now, some of the typical results you can expect from using Q Vinci looks sort of like this. Obviously, we are a cloud-based solution. Once we sync with the accounting files of your franchisees, you'll now have 24/7 access into your financials, not just at a macro level, but at a micro level down to the store level. Now, obviously, this is not general ledger type access. This is summary data. Excuse me. This is summary level data, but you'll have access to that summary level accounting data for every franchise unit in your ecosystem 24/7, right? That's going to give you the deeper insight that you need to improve the overall business performance. And business planning at the corporate level, all the way down to the franchisee. Help them improve their individual unit economics. Or if it's a multi-unit franchise group, help them improve all of the unit performances for all of their units as well. So it's going to give you the insight that you need. You'll be able to identify problems before they become real issues in your business. You'll be able to see the financial landscape because you'll have all the data in real time whenever you need it on demand. You'll be able to also improve your financial targeting and target tracking, right? When you say let me ask you a question. How many of you have franchisees who complain about not being able to make enough money, or they're not making the type of money that they thought that they would make when they initially signed up, right? With the system, you'll be able to set and create strategic KPIs and track their performance day by day, month over month, through the year, so that they can do the types of numbers and be as profitable as they thought they could, right? So all that belly aching and complaining, there's full accountability. You'll be able to show them and create a roadmap for success for them, and then show them exactly what they need to do and monitor that on a continuous basis so that they don't fall off, right? Actionable data, that speaks to the financial target tracking and creating of the KPIs. So if you have questions about that, let me know. We can address that at the end. Now, I did say that we're going to talk about some of the key features of Qvinci, right? So we have one of our patents is around what's called dynamic mapping to a standard chart of accounts. That's huge. What that means is most of you have a corporate chart of accounts. Some of you may mandate that your franchisees also use that chart of accounts in the operation and reporting of their books, but most do not. Right? This allows you to, one, not have to standardize accounting platforms, but also it allows you to not have to mandate that they use a standard chart of accounts. Their native chart of accounts, when we sync with their accounting files, we're going to dynamically map what they mean account by account and translate that over to the standard chart of accounts. Give you an example. You may have 3 franchise units, all of them call rent, the rent expense by a different name. One person may call it rent, the other person may call it lease, and then someone else may call it office mortgage or building mortgage, right? When we sync with their native charts of accounts or with their accounting file, we'll dynamically map what they call an expense item over to where you need it to be placed in the standard chart of accounts. And that's going to be done dynamically and automatically with every sync, right? Ranking and benchmarking is really the key really the key point of interest for your franchisees to want to participate and give access to their data, right? Some people may say, well, franchisees may say, well, we don't want to necessarily give, access to that level of data to the franchise, right? That's big brother. Well, the benefit for them to do this is that they'll be able to anonymously benchmark themselves against their peers, the top 10 or 20% of their peers, right? They're all in this to make money. They may love the franchise system itself, but at the end of the day, they're in this to turn a profit. And if you can show them how they can squeeze more profit out of every day, they'll be all over this solution. And our marketing department and business development sales folks, we can help you craft messaging to encourage that type of participation if it's not mandated already in your FDD. Custom reports. There is a custom report builder built into the solution. Right now, you may have or require either your accountant or your business development managers or whomever in your organization to submit periodic reports. And typically, the process for them to draft those reports is they have to, one, go source the data, then dump it into an Excel document, work the micro or macro wizardry on the formatting, and then by the time they hit save, the data is already outdated. It's already obsolete, right? In Qvinci, you can build custom reporting structures within the system because, mind you, we have the data. When you build a reporting structure in the system, every time someone clicks on the link that you've saved and given them access to for that report, the system's going to populate that report with live data, right? So dynamic data based on real-time information that's being synced from every franchise unit in your ecosystem. Now, the last thing we want to talk about here is security. I did mention that we are a cloud-based solution. AWS is our hosting company, so they host our solution in their facilities. AWS is very well known, very secure. They are a national, global hosting company. Obviously, they host data and provide security for Amazon.com and the Department of Defense and a host of other large organizations. So it's a very secure facilities, very secure technology and solution that they offer. AWS also carries SOC 1, 2, and 3, HIPAA, HIPS, and DoD. For Qvinci, on the Qvinci side, there are only a handful of executives who have access to our databases. So whenever someone actually has to get into the facilities or the database, there is a full audit trail. So it's a very safe, very secure platform. And obviously, if you have more detailed questions about our security and security detail and protocol, I'd be more than willing to address your concerns and provide you with the data that you need to feel more comfortable. All right. Now, I did say that if you have questions, we want to address those. We can do that at the end. Here is my contact information. If you'd like to have a one-off demo, I'll be more than happy to help you get that set up with directly with me or any of the people that you see listed on the slide. Let's see, what are we looking like on time here? We're about 23 minutes in. So what I'd like to do now is go through a brief demo of Qvinci software, give you a peek at what it looks like. All right. Hopefully you all can see a dashboard, a Qvinci dashboard on your screen. Okay. I'm going to assume that everyone can see this. So what you're looking at is a financial summary in picture format of, for example, every franchise location that you have in your enterprise. So if you notice at the top here, we're looking at a view of all locations. Now that could be all units, that could be all units or whatever you want to call them, franchise units, locations, files, whatever, right? Now, this is a user-based system, right? With Qvinci, everyone in your organization could have their own username and login and access to Qvinci. Now, at the administrator level, obviously, you're going to determine who has access to view what information. You would not want everyone to be able to view all information. So if I am a multi-unit owner and I log in and I own the Austin store, the Boston store, and the Chicago store, when I log in, my dashboard is only going to be comprised of the data that I own or the locations that I own. If I'm a single store owner and I just have one, I just own the Austin store. Oops. Hang on one second. If I just own the Austin store when I log in, I'm just getting data for the one unit that I own, right? So for the purposes of the demo, we'll just go ahead and we'll go back to everyone. We'll select everything. And we'll assume everyone on this call is the administrator at their prospective organization, right? So you want to see data that represents everyone. Now this dashboard is user-based, right? The preferences are based on the user's preferences. So for instance, if I don't want P&Ls over the last 2 years in my dashboard, right, it's very easy to go in there and customize my dashboard based on my preferences. So if I want to remove P&Ls, or let's put P&Ls over the last 12 months, push that down just a little bit, and then we'll push AP and AR together, okay, and we'll re-swizzle that, right? We'll hit save, and the system is going to rearrange these financial tiles or widgets based on my preferences. And obviously, these are live. So if I did not want, say, for my accounts receivable aging report, if I didn't want anything that was over 90 days in the report, I could remove that or I could put it back. Same thing with any of these. If there's something in here that you don't want, let's say income, we can remove income, right? Or we can put it back. So it's completely customizable based on the user's preferences. Now, the real value for Qvinci is in its reporting capabilities, right? Mind you, we are syncing with every franchise unit and pulling data from every unit in real time, right, based on the last sync that they've done. As such, you're able to pull or run any of these reports and pull live data. So, for instance, if I'm the franchisor and I want to pull a P&L across all locations in the enterprise, and want to say, let's do that by location over the last quarter, okay? And we want to do a vertical analysis as a percent of revenue, but I also want to add in there, give me the actual numbers behind those percentages, right? I could do that as well. We can build that report, and the system is going to give us a side-by-side P&L, a consolidated P&L for every location across your entire ecosystem, okay? All the way across. There's quite a few in there. Now, obviously, if you don't want to do all of them, you can sort this down by region, by state, by city, by zone, however you want to manage your business, right? What you're seeing here is the standard chart of accounts that you would have emailed us, and we would have uploaded to your Qvinci account. So this is your standard chart of accounts that you would send us, by which all the reports are sort of based off of. So, and if you want to at a later date add or delete or modify this chart of accounts, it's very easy to do, right? There's no additional charge to do that or anything like that. So, for instance, I mentioned if I did not want to see a P&L on all locations, but I wanted to run a P&L on, let's say, just a couple locations. We'll just say those three that we mentioned earlier, Austin, Boston, and Chicago. Here's that P&L. Austin, Boston, Chicago, and totals. For every line item in the chart of accounts, here's where each of these units is coming in. So let's just say engine sales. 13.5 for Austin, 33.1 for Boston, and then, of course, 25.2 for Chicago. So completely customizable the way the system will present data to you, or the filters are customizable for the way it's going to present data to you. Now, if you notice here, as we go back to the report summary here, you'll see some memorized reports here. Earlier in the discussion, I mentioned that we have the ability to create custom reports within Qvinci and then provide access to those reports as you see fit. So, for instance, if you wanted to create a budget versus actual, I'm just going to click on this one. This is a canned report that someone has created in the system, right? But if we want to modify this report, we can go in here and customize it. This is the report building tool that we have, right? It operates very similarly to Excel, right? You can add rows, you can add columns, you can create custom formulas within cells, you can add headers, footers for legal purposes. However you want to do it, you can create this report. So what you essentially are doing is creating a reporting structure. You tell Qvinci what structure you want to have in the report, and then Qvinci will populate this report with the data that you need every time someone clicks on that link. So when we hit save, the next time I go in and I click that report, if I ran that report this morning when I first came into the office, when I go home right before I leave the office, I want to hit that report, it'll repopulate with data of transactions that have occurred since the last time I logged in, right? So completely customizable reports at your disposal. And you can also, like I said, let me go back in here. This report, once I have it, I can do a couple things. I can save it as a PDF or an Excel document and then email it out to whomever I'd like to have access to it. Or I could simply grant them access to that report so that when they log into their Qvinci, that report is available to them under the memorized reports in their account as well. So completely customizable reporting solution and access to the reports based on user preferences. P&L, balance sheets, cash flows, APAR reports, cash by expense by vendor, cash by customer. These are all reports that you can run at any time and it'd be populated with live data. Now, the value that I said to the franchisor or franchisees is the benchmarking and ranking reports, right? For them, it's important for them to be able to say, okay, well, how do I stack up to the top 10% of my peers? Now, mind you, it does not say how do I stack up to against my peer across the street or in the next neighborhood. This is anonymous benchmarking and ranking, right? So I can't see someone else's data as a franchisee, but they can't see mine either. What I can see is how do I stack up relative to the top 10 or 20% of my peers over any given date range here that I select. And we'll just say over the last 2 months. Give me a comparison, and then I also have some quick filters here that corporate can set up. You can add up to 20 different filters here, right? So if you want to say you want to add a filter that says, okay, well, those that have a drive-through versus those that don't, or those that have been in business 2 years or less, or 2 years or more, 3 years or more, whatever. Those that have employee counts of 30 plus, or those that have, whatever quick filters you want to add in here, you can add in here to make sure that your benchmark is as relevant as possible. So once you've identified what filters you want to include in the report, you just simply build a report, and here it is. For the Austin store, what you're looking at is how does this store rank, this is the benchmark for the chart of accounts against the top 10%, right, the average of the top 10%. So this is what the average of the top 10% did for, say, engine work versus what I'm doing at the Austin store for engine work, right? All the way down the chart of accounts. So this is where you benchmark. This is where I am relative to everyone else, the top 10%. Now, seeing where you are is one thing, but understanding how you rank is completely another. So let's do a ranking report here. Okay, we want to say rank the Austin store against the last 3 months over the last quarter and see where that store stacks up. So mind you, if I'm the Austin store unit owner, I'm seeing that out of 26 others, in this example, there's 26 others that I'm comparing myself against. I'm number 19 for total income, right? I'm number 10 for total expense, right? So this is how I rank. Now, if you're corporate, if you're at the corporate level or a business development manager at corporate, and you want to say, okay, well, I'm over the Pacific Southwest region. Let me see how my stores are ranking relative to one another. All right, you can run that ranking report. Hang on 1 second, folks. I want to select all there. There we go. So I have access to, if I'm a business development manager and I see, all the stores that I have responsibility for, here's where they're stacking up relative to one another. Okay. Boston is number 2 out of 26, or 2 out of however many we have in this example. These guys are 11 out of that example, out of that sum total. So this is how, and also you can sort this by clicking on it. You can sort it in ascending or descending order according to the ranking per column. So completely customizable. And you can save this report. You can send it out in an Excel document or PDF via email, at your choosing. So showing people how they, where they stack up relative to their peers is one thing, right? Giving them the action plan to actually improve those numbers. If they don't like where they're ranking, okay, well, let's do something about it. And you can show them exactly how you can improve your performance with the tool that we call Performa, right? And what Performa is, it is a projection tool, okay? It says, let's pick a location. We'll say Austin. Okay, I don't think we have data in here for this month. It's such a new month. So let's go back to June. We'll just, assume that this month is the month of June, and we are at the 5th day of June. So that marker would be somewhere around here. Now, if this item here for net income is green, that means that I am on target to meet my peers, over the pure average of my peers for this month. Now, this pure target, what this number means is this is a 2-year average of what the top 10% of my peers have done for the month of June for net income. And it does the same thing for all other items in the P&L. So total income, cost of goods sold, gross profit, so on and so forth. If I am on target, it's green. If I'm underperforming in a particular area, it's red, right? These are the areas of opportunity that I have to improve my numbers. If I don't like the amount of profit that I'm making at a particular unit or my stores are making in a particular region, right? These are the action items that this particular store can create as an alert in the system here, right? And this is a way that you can track, okay? Well, I'm underperforming in cost of goods sold, right? So you can go in here and create an alert for engine sales, cost of goods sold. Send me an email on a daily or weekly basis. You determine the frequency, month to date, and you want to say, okay, well, if I fall below a certain threshold, send me an email, and you determine what that threshold is here. So you can create a single alert or groups of alerts for a particular location. This is how you provide full accountability and visibility for the performance improvement of every franchise unit in your system, right? Set up the alert. First of all, identify what areas of the business a particular unit is underperforming in. Then set up an alert so that they can monitor and pay attention to those specific areas that they want to improve in. And there's a full audit trail there. So no longer can a franchisee come in and say, well, I'm not making enough money. You've shown them what they need to do on a continuous basis, and you're monitoring that, and there's a full audit trail to make sure that they are doing the things that they need to do so that they're happy. Yeah, everyone's happy, to be honest with you. Let's see, we're running a little short on time. I'm going to abbreviate this demo. There's quite a few other features here that I could run through, but I want to make sure that we leave enough time for Q&A. So at this time, I want to address some of your questions here. Kaylin, can you let me know what questions have come in?
Yes, absolutely. We had a question come in about that some of their franchisees are multi-unit owner, and they use classes to report as locations. Does Qvinci sync as a class, the classes, and how do they handle that within the system?
Okay. Yes, we can sync by location or sync by class. It's completely up to you. That's something that you'll need to work with your support rep or work with support on when we set up your Qvinci account, and you tell us exactly how you manage your business currently, and we'll make sure that the system is set up or your accounts are set up such to mirror that operation. So, did I answer that question for you?
Yeah. Next question is, does it integrate with QuickBooks Online?
Absolutely. We have direct integration with all of Intuit's product suite. So Enterprise, Pro, Desktop, QuickBooks Online, and QBOA for accountants. Any other questions? Come on, guys, don't be shy. Fire those questions away. Is there something coming in right now, Caitlin?
Let me check. Question came in, how hard is it to set up an account? Do you have a support team to assist?
Yes, absolutely. So our support team is available during normal business hours of operation. They can also do online chat, and we can walk them through setting up accounts and managing their account that way as well. I think support hours are 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time, but we can definitely, if you have an issue with setting up your account or how to make changes or edits or managing your account, we can also help walk you through that as well. With Qvinci, we do not charge for customer support. With this Qvinci subscription, it's unlimited support, unlimited users, unlimited logins. We do charge by the location. So if you are a franchise unit or a franchisor that has 100 franchise units, then pricing would be you'd either pay on the monthly subscription model or the annual subscription model per location. And so if you'd like to have more detail about pricing and account setup and what comes with the account setup fee, I'd be more than happy to give you the specifics of it. But very on a high level, just very quickly, without getting too deep in the weeds, our monthly subscription is $14.95 per month per unit. Our annual subscription is $149.95 per unit, and really that's the best value because it gives you basically 2 months free. So when you extrapolate the numbers forward, $14.95 times 12, the annual subscription comes out to be a better value. The only other fee that we would charge is a one-time only fee, account setup fee of $35 per unit. And really what that covers is getting your account set up, mapping the data and syncing, getting synced with each of those franchise units, and obviously mapping the data over to the appropriate account and standard chart of accounts. Unlimited support, unlimited training, and unlimited usership. If you need additional training at your leisure, obviously we have a wealth of data and content available on our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and type in Qvinci, you'll see a number of tutorials that are out there for various aspects of managing and operating the Qvinci account.
One question that just came in is, do you recommend we give our franchisees access to Qvinci, or should we only use it at a corporate level?
Oh, great question. Excellent question. That we recommend that, knowledge is power, right? When you share data, excuse me, guys, I think I just went blank there. But when you share data with everyone in the ecosystem, it still sharpens steel, right? And so by giving everyone access to that data, it's only going to allow them to self-manage and to improve unit economics. Giving them visibility into how they're doing relative to their peers is important. It's actually critical. You want to make sure that your franchisees know where they stand, and if they don't like how they stand, you can equip them to improve their standing. That's where this is where the friendly competition or healthy competition comes into play. Seeing where they stand, knowing that everyone else can sort of say, okay, well, I want to be top dog. But if you're the last man or low man on the totem pole and you don't want to be there, you need to have the tools on a continuous basis, in a real-time basis, to improve your numbers. This is the tool, and you want them to have access to it. So we definitely recommend granting access to your franchisees. Now, obviously, you may not want to give them access to all the data, only the data that they contribute to the ecosystem. That's very prudent and wise. So, but it's completely up to you as an administrator. Excellent question.
Kind of in addition to that question, someone asked if they utilize franchise business consultants, are they able to invite their franchise consultants to a specific territory or region they support, so they're not seeing the whole environment but just the franchisees they support?
Absolutely. Another great question. So Franchise consultants, I assume, are what some people may call them a business development manager or business development rep or something like that. You can invite whomever you want to have a Qvinci account. As I mentioned before, it's unlimited users, unlimited login. So if you say, for instance, if you have contracted out at the corporate level, if you contracted out with an outside consultant to help manage your business, and you want to give them access to your corporate Qvinci account, you can absolutely do that. And you can parse out what they have access to do. So if you've hired them to come in and take a look and improve operations in the Northeast region or in a particular state or group of states, you can, their permissions, when they log in, the system will only present data relative to those permissions.
One just came in. I know a lot of my franchisees utilize Right Networks for hosting system for services. Do you guys work with Right Networks?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, you know, that is a technical question. I do know that we have that capability, and it is something that is possible. Get with me, or with you know, if you get with me, send me an email. I can make sure that I provide you the data that you need for more detailed questions. But the crux of the answer is yes.
All right, looks like that is the end of the questions. Alvar, I recommend we leave it open just for a little bit in case anyone wants to chat in with a question, but so far no more questions.
All right. Well, again, folks, I want to thank you all for participating, and obviously, like Caitlin said, if you have questions, we'll leave it open for a while, you know, chime in with the question. But for those that want to drop off, we want to thank you for your time. We invite you to participate in some of the in the two follow-on webinars that we have scheduled for the 12th and November the 6th, I believe it is. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to hearing back from you on a one-off basis. I see we still have 7 people online, so I'm assuming that you 7 are writing up questions, typing up questions to submit. Well, I think that's it. So if you guys have questions beyond this, you should have our contact information. You can reach me at 972-814-8206. That's my direct line. Or send me an email at alvarc@qvinci.com. Thank you again, all, and we look forward to engaging with you later. Bye-bye.